Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order. It is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023. It is 2:02 p.m. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. To my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. Also in the boardroom, we have Interim County Manager Robin Campbell, as well as Assistant County Manager Rob Gelder, and our Clerk of the Board, Jamie Caldwell. We'll start our meeting today with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Menser.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, Vice Chair Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We would also like to start today's meeting with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial and who still inhabit the area today. Specifically, the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to the approval of the Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 agenda. There were some changes this morning, and I'll let the county manager review those changes.
Thank you, Commissioner. Interim County Manager Robin Campbell. And the changes made on your agenda compared to this morning was a item from the treasurer regarding the sale of tax title property was taken off consent, is now Department Item 9A. And the action on public hearing B was updated to include that the purpose of the code change is to increase Board of Health membership. Those are the changes on your agenda.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Menser?
No.
Okay.
I move to approve the proposed agenda for Tuesday, November 7th, 2023 with the changes outlined by the interim county manager.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. The agenda is now approved. Today we have two presentations. We'll start with the first one from Public Works, and it's Thurston County Public Works, American Public Works Association reaccreditation.
Good afternoon. For the record, Jennifer Walker, Public Works Director. I would like to introduce Tina Nelson. Tina is the Region 9 Director for the American Public Works Association.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Let me see, does that?
You're good.
Commissioners and the county managers, thank you so much. I appreciate this great opportunity to be invited here to present to your wonderful Public Works Department this incredible endeavor that they have accomplished. Public Works is my passion. Representing APWA is an honor. One of the privileges of being one of the board members is to get to be part of this kind of an event. And so quickly to those of you who may not know, what is APWA? The American Public Works Association was formed in 1937. It's a non-for-profit organization with 32,000 members involved in the field of public works. APWA serves its members by promoting professional excellence and public awareness through education, advocacy, and exchange of knowledge. APWA is headquartered in Kansas City with also an office in Washington, D.C. Here in the state of Washington, one of the chapters covers the entire state. It's actually the third largest chapter in the organization of 62 chapters. We have about 1,500 members in this state, and many of those members are members also of your Public Works Department. I've been in the public works profession for 30 plus years. Serving the public and serving the public well has always been my goal. Public Works has many responsibilities. and the ability to serve well comes with a well-organized approach, and accreditation and staying accredited are steps in that direction. It takes an effort to get there, but it brings a lot of dividends. I work for an accredited agency, Kitsap County, so I do know what work it takes, and I also do know what some of the benefits are. So why accreditation? Accreditation is the mark of professionalism, indicating a public works agency has made the commitment to continuous improvement in delivery of public works operations and services in the community it serves. Accreditation recognizes an agency's policies, procedures, and practices, which have been evaluated against nationally recognized management practices determined to be appropriate for that specific agency. So what does this then do for an agency and an organization like Thurston County? Increased efficiency. You get all of your documents, policies, and procedures in one place. You improve on your process as you are writing these processes, as you are looking at how are you approaching something. You are also able to improve on the process that you have. It improves some communication internally within the department. Succession planning. It's a sad thing to say, but we know that we are losing employees in this public works arena on a regular basis. The better we document how we do things, the easier it is for those that come behind us. It's professional recognition. There are not that many agencies that are accredited. In the state of Washington, you have 3 counties, Thurston, Pierce, and Kitsap. There are also a few cities. Across the country, you have 200 agencies. That's not a very large number based on the number of agencies that you have across the country. You have over 400 just in the state of Washington. Thurston County Public Works Department was evaluated by a team of experienced public works professionals from California and Nebraska. They reviewed 147 different practices to confirm that Thurston County's continued compliance with all of the recognized practices that are applicable to Thurston County. And Thurston County received 100% compliance. Again, this is the 4th consecutive time that you have received this accreditation. And not only were you 100% complete, but the evaluation team also recognized that the county have 2 model practices. One of them being the engineering management design criteria and standards. What the evaluation team said was that the product delivery manual is a model for other agencies. It is very thorough, comprehensive, and covers many practices in the APWA accreditation program. It includes for each stage of a project a checklist, objectives, tasks, responsibilities, and the people involved. One of the most impressive that somebody had seen. What a help and what a great document to have as you also move forward with all of this infrastructure funding that is available. You are more readily able to deliver if you have a good manual. The other model practice was street lighting and litter control. The newly developed litter program for Thurston County is a data-driven approach to address a problem that every community faces. The comprehensive program has obtainable goals and utilizes multiple resources for personnel to perform collection duties. A comprehensive written procedure is also in place for the volunteers that are helping out. These model practices will be shared with other agencies throughout North America. Yes, Kitsap County would also like one. That's who I work for. Thurston County is definitely one of the leader in project delivery. Now, at this time, I would like to present the plaque, if that is a good time, to your director. And also, I understand that Trevin Taylor was the accreditation manager. So it is my honor, not that I've done this 4 times, but you guys have received this 4 times, and that is something very special. So I appreciate your guys' involvement. Thank you, Trevin. Thank you so much. And continue. It'll be great to see you a 5th time. And thank you for listening. And thank you so much to commissioners for allowing and supporting your Public Works Department in this endeavor to stay accredited as an organization and setting a great example in the services that they provide for those that work and live here in Thurston County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tina, very much for the detailed explanation. I want to take just a couple of moments to thank the people that are in this room from Public Works, our chapter leads, specific recognition to our accreditation manager and project managers, Trevin Taylor and Kim Burnett. I also, this effort expanded beyond Public Works. So it also included, with the support of the IT Director, Sherry Ilg, and Interim County Manager, Robin Campbell, Fleet Services. So Bruce Rorabaugh was involved with this, as well as Joe Barlin in IT. So thank you to all of my chapter leads. We have several staff that were involved with this effort that aren't here with us today. But it's really a testament to their continuous improvement effort and professionalism, as Tina mentioned, with always the eye on improving and enhancing our services to our community, because that is why we were here, to serve our community. So thank you to the board for their support, and thank you to my team. Great job.
Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Are we gonna get our picture taken with these folks?
Yeah.
Well, then I don't need to say a lot more other than thank you very much for all your hard work. And this is quite an accomplishment if you think of, I think there's about 3,000 counties in the United States, somewhere in there, let alone the number of cities that are participating. So, you know, out of that small number, it's unbelievable that you've been one of the ones to excel. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer?
Congratulations to our director and your team. Obviously, we're very proud of you, and I just didn't realize that we were only 3 of the 39 counties in Washington. And thanks, Tina, for coming and giving specific examples of what it means, because, you know, accreditation can be kind of abstract for the board as well as the public, but you gave very specific examples of what we're doing and what it means and how it impacts folks. So glad to hear that, and congratulations. Very proud of you.
Yeah, congratulations and thank you. I mean, to all the Public Works staff and their teams. You all do such amazing work, right? And this shows. And I remember in my orientation with Public Works, it was something that Director Walker was one of the first things she mentioned to me. It's, why would you not want a Public Works team that's accredited? And I know she holds this team in a high standard, and we do too. And you continue to show out every single time, so thank you. Now we'll go ahead and take a picture, and all the Public Works team will join us up.
Tina, do you want to come up with that, please? Probably in the center.
What?
Seven,
Oh.
Tina.
Oh.
You two need to be in the middle. That's right, let me get our center.
Nope, you're good.
So Tina, you can. Perfect. Do we need to like get some?
You're all
people
right, short
behind?
stuff.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a wide angle shot. Huh? You're good.
Can you all take a breath and step towards the middle? Three, two, one. Thank you. Okay, don't move. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tina. Give my regards. Good to see you.
I'm gonna tell my wife about that litter program. Go for it. She's always criticizing me.
She giving you the dickens about litter all the time?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a second presentation, and it's Veterans Day Proclamation. And we have Mark Moffett, our Community Program Manager from Public Health and Social Services here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thanks for having us and all the veterans. How many veterans are here? Raise your hand. That's quite a bit. Thank you so much. There are many similarities between various public service professions. Whether you're in law enforcement, a teacher, public health, a county commissioner, a veteran, we all have a sense of duty to protect and sometimes to serve. But one of the big differences between veterans and most other public servants is the amount of time we as veterans spend away from our families on deployments. That's why every Veterans Day, I like to think more about the hardships my daughters endured while I was serving rather than any of my personal challenges. I volunteered to serve in the military. They were born into it. And so on each Veterans Day, I like to say thank you to my daughters, Sydney and Madison, for their sacrifices. And second, I like to thank all of those family members that are past, present, and future that are supporting their service members today, because without them, we wouldn't have this same quality of life that we have. So thank you for having us. I do have a few speakers for you that are veterans. Most of them are public or part of the county. I want to start off with with Bill Powell, who is the Veterans Advisory Board Chair.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Good afternoon, guests, friends, and all you on Zoom. Every year, we all come together for Veteran Day. Veteran Day to me is to remember those who came before me, came in with me, and came in after. We defend, we serve, and now for the last 22 years, I have been a servant of the state of Washington. For the last 22 years, I have been serving veterans in their family, one shape or another, doing their benefits, doing whatever I had to do for them. And so Veteran Day have became a really important time for me and my family because that's the time we serve. And so far, I have served this country and this state for 42 years, going on 43, and only been alive for going on 60. So service is part of my roots and part of my family root. And hopefully all the veterans out here feel the same. So with a round of applause, I'd like to thank all you veterans who served and still.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Erin Berklid, Disease Control and Prevention Division Director for Public Health and Social Services. Thank you for taking the time today to recognize Veterans Day. While I am by definition a military veteran, having served 4 years in the United States Air Force, I rarely identify myself as a veteran. I see my time as incredibly brief in comparison to the thousands who served much longer, experienced great loss, or paid the ultimate sacrifice. I look back on the 4 years I served as one of the greatest learning opportunities of my life, teaching me skills that define much of who I am today. My time in service seemed, in the moment, so long, and looking back after these many years is no more than a blink. The teamwork, leadership, and camaraderie and memories from those years last a lifetime, and I will forever cherish knowing I had the opportunity to serve this great nation, if even for a short time. I'm incredibly proud to be a veteran. Thank you.
Bruce Rorba, Fleet Services Manager and Army veteran. I think this community is incredibly supportive to veterans and part of why I chose to remain here after serving. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Thurston County for this recognition to those serving and those who served. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our veterans for their service, whether it was one term or a career. Lastly, I'd like to thank the families of veterans who serve as well through their support and sacrifice.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a lot taller. Good afternoon. I'm Tyler Barrientos. I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I took a little bit of pre-workout, so I'm a little jacked up right now. Wasn't anticipating a speech, but that's what Marines do best is improv, right? So I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted to get out of Yakima, Washington, get away from all the drugs, alcohol abuse that was going on in, my hometown. And I realized after being in the Marine Corps, it was the most diverse organization I've ever been a part of. Met people from complete opposite areas of the nation. And it was just something that you'd never thought it was going to be. And it's not until it took me about 10 years of getting out of the Marine Corps to realize how important being a veteran is to me. I used to think, oh, it's just Veterans Day. It's just discounts and whatever. But the older I got, the more I realized how being in those fighting holes mold you as a young adult. How not having a shower for 3 months makes you appreciate having free access to water, and safe food, safe sanitation, and the importance of public health, and that's what prompted me to join public service, was realizing all these places that I've been didn't have these basic necessities. And to me, it was just baffling. How do they not know to keep your water clean, provides a better future for your children or yourself? And, that's one of the reasons I joined, school and college to go get an education, was to work in public health. Really wanted to focus on disease prevention, and finally got my foot in the door. And here I am as a senior environmental health specialist for Thurston County, one of the most beautiful counties and places in the world I've ever been. Green, and people are great, and you respect each other. And there's a lot of places in the world that don't respect anyone but people within their own house. And so, coming here today and being able to speak about my experiences as a young adult and how that molded me into a better human being, I hope that all veterans out there who had that same perception of themselves and other veterans, hear this, can change their outlook on it and better themselves and help, just like when I was in the Marine Corps, is the person to your left, to your right, then your nation and your family and your home. And I guess that's what I want to pass on to all the veterans in this room, this community, this state, and this nation. So appreciate it.
That's one of the challenges of bringing a Marine up to speak. You never know what they're going to say, but I'm glad you turned it around. Great job.
Speaking of not knowing what you're going to say, good afternoon, Commissioners. Kurt Harden, retired in the community. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for this proclamation honoring veterans. Veterans are everywhere in our society. You see them. They're filled with community spirit. They're filled with volunteerism. I will tell you that in a lot of our fire districts around the county, you'll find veterans who are volunteering as EMTs and/or firefighters. So that spirit to serve goes throughout everybody who's a veteran. One of the things I wanted to talk about real quick was sometimes people are like, well, you have Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Armed Forces Day. What's the difference? And I wanted to tell people in May, Armed Forces Day celebrates everybody who's currently serving. Memorial Day celebrates people who gave their ultimate sacrifice and gave their life while on duty, while serving. And then Veterans Day is for everybody else who served but are no longer serving. They're retired or they served 1 or 2 tours. This is their day for them. And so I want to thank you for that. And then I want to take you down one special veteran that I want to bring forward. Doesn't live in Thurston County, but in September, I got an opportunity to travel to Washington, D.C. to celebrate the life of one of our oldest veterans, a World War II veteran, 99 years old, Bryce Thornton. Very sharp person. He was there, and he was representing all of the soldiers in his division because he was the last one that could attend the reunion because everybody else had gone on or weren't able to travel anymore. But he was full of life, full of energy, and the things that, the stories, the information I got from him was incredible. The only thing I could say that he was lacking was, as I commented to him, he said, he's hard of hearing. I said, well, so is my daughter. And he said, well, she chooses to be. So anyway, I thought that was he was very sharp. So anyway, but I want to say from our oldest veterans from World War II, all the way to our veterans who just have served, to say thank you very much for what you're doing and honoring everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharonda Mamilo, Superior Court. I just want to start with the employer. When I was a public defender before joining the Superior Court, I nominated Thurston County as an employee to receive the Employee Award of the Year for Employer Award of the Year a year for its support of veterans that were either serving or had served. I was a drilling reservist at that time when I was with the Public Defender's Office, and Thurston County Commissioners, as well as the county as a whole, was always very supportive of the veterans, and I really appreciated that because I never had any negativity associated with my need to serve, whether I was gone 2 weeks or 4 weeks and sometimes 6 weeks for some of my training. So I want to thank you for that and let everybody know that I have for a long time have enjoyed the benefit of being a service member actively drilling with Thurston County as an employee. In 2022, I retired after 25 years in the reserves and was back at Thurston County now in Superior Court, and I can just say that I really appreciated Thurston County as an employer for all of those years. And like all the other veterans here, service is in my blood, and I really look forward to continuing to serve the county because I know the county will always serve veterans in the way that it always has. So thank you very much for today's proclamation.
Are there any other veterans that would like to speak today? Can we go to Zoom?
Sure, do you?
Anybody on Zoom? All right, then I'm ready for a proclamation.
Thank you so much. Okay, Commissioner Edwards.
Well, I think I'd just like to take this opportunity to double down on basically what Mark said about the family, because it is so crucial that veterans that are serving have that family that supports them and suffers with them during any type of interaction that their loved one is involved with. And the bottom line is and I guess I doubly appreciate this as a veteran from 58 years ago, so that's a while back. But I really have to say thank you to the veterans and their families, because if it wasn't for our veterans and their sacrifices, some including the ultimate sacrifice, we would not be here today able to express ourselves in a great country in which you get the opportunity to speak out if you so desire. So thank you very much to all the veterans for your service, and just think of that as a major accomplishment in our world today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Menser?
I also wanted to thank the veterans for serving, veterans especially who are here to represent. I had the same reaction and comment, wanting to thank families, as Mark and a couple of the other speakers mentioned. I know Mark's making up for lost time because we see each other at Capitol High School student events all the time with our kids. So it's a big deal, and for all the reasons that our speakers mentioned, thank you.
Well, thank you to all of you who came here today and spoke and shared your stories with us. And thank you for continuing in the role of service that you all are. You know, we're very lucky that you have chosen Thurston County to work, to continue your role of service. We appreciate how much you continue to give to the community. And I agree with what my seatmates have said in terms of families and how much families really are right there with you all. And I'm ready for a proclamation, sir.
Okay. Thurston County Proclamation, Veterans Day. Whereas Veterans Day is an annual opportunity to honor American patriots who answered the call of duty to protect our nation and preserve our freedoms. And whereas throughout the rich history of the United States of America, patriotic men and women have taken up arms and sworn an oath to defend our nation and have established an honorable tradition of dedicated service. And whereas our Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard, many of whom have paid the ultimate sacrifice to ensure our home remains the land of the free and has made our country, state, and nation proud. And whereas the patriotism of those in uniform who continue to defend the timeless truths and great freedoms on which our nation was founded. Whereas we honor and support the selfless sacrifices and courage of our military spouses, children, and families. And whereas Thurston County, one of the first Purple Heart counties in the state, is recognized as one of the most military-friendly counties in the state of Washington, with more than 28,000 veterans calling it home. And whereas, long after leaving the uniform behind, Thurston County veterans continue to serve our community as public servants, mentors, teachers, community leaders, parents, and neighbors. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaims November 11th, Veterans Day in Thurston County, to honor and recognize the contributions our veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors have made to the cause of peace and freedom around the world. Adopted this 7th day of November, 2023 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Would all of the veterans join us? Yes.
I get behind everybody. Yep. I get behind everybody.
Get close to your body. To talk with each other.
Okay, so look towards Jen and White here. I'll go next. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. All right. And your last one. Thank you all.
Thank you.
That doesn't count. That's
Wanted to make sure you didn't leave it behind.
It's still behind on his Harry Potter books. Kurt? Okay. Okay, that will conclude our presentation for today. Next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. And I have my sign-up sheet, but I don't have anyone who's signed up, so I'll go to the boardroom first, and then Mr. Trowbridge, go ahead, and then we'll move on to Zoom. But first, let me read the guidelines. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members in the boardroom. The board does not respond to public comments. On a need basis, the county manager will follow up on specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business, and all materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you for your cooperation. Mr. Trowbridge, go ahead.
Brett Trowbridge, I live on Patterson Lake. Interesting that it's Veterans Day and that people from Public Works are here. I'd like to discuss an actual veteran who was or still is working for you and your treatment of him, Cole Webster. He was promised that he would be able to make decisions about the actual science on the lakes. He was going to be the prime person to do the IAVAMP. He told me just a few weeks ago, he was going to be the one who would decide if my lily pads died or not. You pulled the rug out from under him and removed his position, and he's had to move out of state. He's a disabled veteran, combat veteran, and that's how you treat him. And that's how you treat the whole lake projects. You know, it's one day you're going to do this, the next day you're going to do that. He managed to keep the glyphosate use on Long Lake and Lawrence Lake down to historically low amounts. In fact, it was only the lily pads on Long Lake that were killed with it. Commissioner Menser, you said no one's lily pads would be killed who didn't want them to be. The one person whose lily pads were killed on Long Lake didn't want them to be. They wanted to clear out a way for motorboats to get through, which of course we don't have on Patterson Lake. So here we are, it's the three of us and me and Mr. Wilson, and you guys started this whole thing. You know, this is your lake project. You inherited some other ones, but you pushed this one down our throats. And now look where we're at. You're firing combat veterans. You're double crossing everybody. Where's the science that's supposed to be involved in this? You were going to be the people who are going to provide supervision, and you have not done that in any of the issues that have come up, including who owns the bottom of the lake. What about the parcels that were left out? What about the fact that Patterson Lake is in the geosensitive area and therefore is protected because it drains into McAllister Springs underground in the aquifer? The one lake that's that way, and you're still going to dump glyphosate in it. You're hurtling toward that decision, and you're not going to put any brakes on it now. You're just going to say as much as you want, wherever you want, on whoever's property you want. If they don't want gallons and gallons, barrels, you don't care, just let them do it. Now I'm trying to continue the conversation from last week. Can you tell us anything about what's going on now? The one choice that you have not denied you're looking at is that you're just going to let the steering committee make all these decisions. They're going to be the basic people who do the IAVAMP along with their contractors, they call them, who are basically poisoning companies. Have you made any decisions since last week? You know, your cards that you hand out all talk about your transparency and your environmentalism. Well, I don't see that here. I see total non-transparency. Why can't people have some way of knowing how you're totally changing everything and without telling anybody, pulling the rug out of the whole thing? And you won't talk about it, you won't call back on the phone. What is going on? No answer.
Thank you. Anyone else in the boardroom? Okay, we will move on to Zoom.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see a few people on Zoom who are not Thurston County employees. The first who has her hand up is Teresa McDonald Evans. So please unmute yourself and you have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Board. I'm Teresa McDonald Evans, and I was in Thurston County this weekend for a funeral, and that is why I'm speaking to you. I asked one of the attendees because somebody we know died, and we were very concerned and sad for this event. And these are the words that she had for me to give to you. Maybe ask them what is being done now to get and keep fentanyl off the streets. The death toll from the overdoses in our children and other community members is devastating. It needs to stop. And a couple questions. How can we start the ball rolling, or how can we keep it rolling for progress in this matter? Thank you so much. That's all I had to say. I'm in Pearson. There's my brain. I'm in Pierce County, and I'm at the courthouse right now. And thank you for allowing me to speak. If you can answer those questions, or since you have my email, I would love to start or continue this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next person on the screen who does not appear to be a county employee is Lisa Narciso. So please unmute yourself if you would like to provide public comment. She is no longer on the screen. The rest of the people are county employees. If any of you are here to provide testimony, please go ahead.
Okay. Perfect. And then no one else? Okay. So then we will move on to county manager's update.
I have no updates at this time, but I would just add that the Board of County Commissioners has not made a decision yet regarding the lake management districts. You have briefings coming up on this topic, but no decisions have been made at this time.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Just to follow up on those comments, I would just like to point out to the public that whatever prescriptions that we use here in Thurston County, they all fall within the guidelines of those that are allowed with the Department of Health at the state of Washington level. So we never deviate from what is allowed by the state health department. So,
And the county treatment plan.
Yeah.
Questions, Commissioner Mensah?
No.
I will also would like to, I guess, going on the same trend, I know he stepped out, but this was never a county initiative. And I just want to clarify that. This was brought forward by the people who live on Pattison Lake. They've brought forth and they decided that they wanted to start a lake management district. We approved the process to continue. It went to a vote and it passed. And now we've reaffirmed that they're a lake management district. So this was not something the county started. This was brought forward by the people who live there. The steering committee was formed. It was not people that the board had any decision in choosing. It was formed by the people who live on the lake and are interested in participating in this whole process. And they're the ones who have been also engaged with Assistant County Manager Rob Gelder as we look at a new way to manage lake management districts and kind of align ourselves with what other counties are doing around the state. So just wanted to put some clarifications in there. Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to?
I guess just piggybacking on your comment, from my perspective, the heavy-handed government approach would have been for the commissioners to say that the process, the democratic process for a group of community members to form a lake management district could not go forward. That's a type of decision that I could not support because they have a right, I think, under the statutes to move forward with the process absent some overriding public interest. So I agree with the chair in feeling that the approach the board took was really the more restrained governmental approach, letting the citizens drive forward a process that's set out in state law and make their own decisions about the formation of the district. It was not a county project, a board project, or any initiative of the Board of County Commissioners whatsoever.
So then with that, that will conclude county manager's update. And then we'll move on to consent items. There's items 3A through 3D. Is there any item on the consent agenda commissioners would like to remove?
No, ma'am.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move to approve consent items 3A through 3D.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, the consent agenda is approved. Moving to department items. Starting with commissioners, item 4A is a resolution to join the Justice Counts Initiative. And Leah Landon, our Criminal Justice Regional Program Manager, will present this item.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioners. As you said, my name is Leah Landon. I'm Thurston County's Criminal Justice Regional Program Manager. Before you today is an initiative to join the a resolution to join the Justice Counts Initiative. This is a nationwide initiative that was formed by the U.S. Department of Justice's Bureau of Justice Assistance, along with a coalition of 22 other criminal justice organizations. As you know, and as we've talked about several times, Thurston County's law and justice data is quite siloed. But all of our law and justice stakeholders are in agreement that we want to get out of that. We want to move forward with a better data system and be in a position where we can use our data to more efficiently and effectively understand our programs and the work that we're doing here in Thurston County. That's where Justice Counts comes in. By being a founding member of the Justice Counts Initiative, we are able to obtain free technical assistance from the Justice Counts Initiative and their teams, which will help us as we move forward with our data projects. The first thing that we're going to move forward with is bringing Justice Counts on board as we start to work through the data that our offices and departments currently collect. What do we collect? What does that look like, and where can we improve upon that? After that, we're able to move into things such as building a data governance structure. So as we're starting to analyze our data, improving upon those systems, and knowing that we have a process in place by which that data is kept, stored, and analyzed. After that, we hope to move into a data warehouse, where over time we will build a law and justice data warehouse, where all of our data for our offices and departments is stored in one place. From there, we'll be able to use that data to look at things such as recidivism. What does recidivism look like in Thurston County? What programs work? Which ones don't? Or what can we be adding to better bolster and support our community? Justice Counts will be able to support us through that entire process, and we will be joining 4 states and 1 other county in the country as a founding member. That means that we're leading the way in this, which is a really unique opportunity for Thurston County. I'd also like to add that as the initiative goes through, we'll be able to help form it and showcase what it looks like. And over time, say Washington as a state were to join, we would be able to compare our metrics to theirs on a high level. We also have the opportunity to use Justice Counts public-facing data dashboard should we want to do that in the future. But finally, again, I would like to just emphasize this is free technical assistance that we would be receiving, and all of our law and justice stakeholders are in agreement that this is the best path forward for Thurston County's law and justice data. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for Leah, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions for Leah. I just want to thank her for her hard work on always keeping us on the cutting edge of attempting to solve our community's problems. And sometimes it takes much more than just the initial arrest. Oftentimes, there are many underlying factors that need to come into play. And I think she exemplifies what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer?
Just added a comment that I think that this, folks may not be aware that this effort will dovetail nicely with kind of a pre-existing effort we've been working on across the county to break down data silos amongst Olympia Police Department, Lacey Police Department, Tumwater Police Department, Yelm, Thurston County Sheriff's Office, the Prosecutor's Office. We've all got numbers and they all need to work together, and they really haven't and don't. Some of that is just, we're in a software computer world, and so we need the right systems that speak to each other. And there's been a memorandum of understanding worked out between local law enforcement to try to coordinate that. There's a lot of pieces to get all the things happening on the ground to be understood, at a countywide level. So this will help us down that road, and then we can really make good policy decisions to make the justice system more efficient, fair, equitable, and effective.
Absolutely. Thank you. I think my seatmates have said it very well, so I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve a resolution to join the Justice Counts Initiative.
Second?
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, item 4B, publicly available electric vehicle charging stations policy, and Rebecca Harvey, our Climate Mitigation Senior Program Manager, will present this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Rebecca Harvey. I'm the Climate Mitigation Senior Program Manager, and I'm here this afternoon to recommend a motion to approve the resolution adopting the Thurston County policy for publicly available electric vehicle charging. The board was briefed on this policy on September 25th, 2023. Revisions were made by staff as requested, and the policy has been through the full county's process for reviewing policies and all the relevant committees. This is an enabling policy that authorizes the county to provide electric vehicle charging to the public on county property. It states the intention that level 2 charging will be provided at no cost, and DC fast charging, if the county decides to move forward with providing it, optional, would be for a fee. The policy provides guidance on ownership, funding, site identification, planning, and the use of EV charging stations. We have discussed some of the specifics in briefings regarding use, regarding signage, enforcement, site selection, funding, the grants that are coming down, and I think we've had some fruitful discussions there. And this policy, I just want to be clear, will be followed with a set of procedures to implement the policy to address some of the details. So it comes down to the fact that the county does not currently have a policy in place to enable public-facing charging, and we need to have such a policy in place to be able to move forward and apply for the infrastructure grants that are available to us. Doing so will help us to support the transition to electric vehicles in the community and help us meet our climate goals and also provide access to clean transportation for county residents. The policy will also benefit the county government as well as members of the public because it will enable us, as I said, to apply for the grants, which can be used to support county fleet vehicle chargers as well as those of the public. We can combine efforts and reduce costs by meeting both of those goals together. So at that, I will pause, and again, I'm here to recommend the motion to approve the resolution adopting the policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions at this time. We've had numerous discussions about this.
Questions, Commissioner Mentzer? No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve the resolution adopting the Thurston County publicly available electric vehicle charging stations policy.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4C is to set a public hearing for 2024 through 2025 biennium budget. And Nicole Martinez, our budget and fiscal manager, will present this item.
Thank you, Commissioners. This item is to set the public hearing for the 24-25 biennium. RCW 364070 requires the Board of County Commissioners to meet to take public comment at any part of the budget. The law allows for the hearing to continue from day to day, not to exceed 5 days until the entire budget has been heard. The law further states the officials in charge of several offices, departments, services, and institutions shall, at the time the estimates of their respective office, department, service, or institution are under consideration, may be called in and appear before such a hearing by the board at the request of any taxpayer. It may be questioned concerning such estimates by the commissioners or any taxpayer. The hearing will be held in groups by topic. On Monday, December 4th at 1:30, there'll be Law and Justice. At 4, General Government. At 6 o'clock, Capital Improvement Plan. And then at 6:15, it'll be open for public comment. On Tuesday, December 5th at 1:30, Transportation, Environment, and Land Use. 2:30, Health and Human Services. At 3:30, Public Works Utility Rates will be discussed. At 4, the revenue to support the budget. And at 6, we'll open for comments. And that's all I have for this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions at this time, thank you.
Questions? Commissioner Mensah? Okay, no questions from me. Is there a motion?
I move to set a public hearing on December 4th, 2023 at 1:30 PM, 4 PM, 6 PM, and 6:15 PM, and on December 5th, 2023 at 1:30 PM, 2:30 PM, 3:30 PM, 4 PM, and 6 PM, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, Room 110, to receive public comments on the 2024-2025 biennium budget.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Both commissioners have their afternoons blocked out.
I'm sure.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving on to, and just as an FYI, I did not announce this in the beginning. We do have two public hearings at 3:30 that we will be pausing. If we're not through with our regular agenda, we'll be pausing and moving on to the public hearings and then continuing our regular agenda. So we'll move on to item 4D, is to set a public hearing on revenue sources for the 2024 through 2025 biennium budget.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this item is to set the public hearing for the revenue sources for the 24-25 biennium. RCW 8455-120 requires all taxing districts that collect regular levies to hold a public hearing on revenue sources for the district's coming year, current expense budget. The hearing must include consideration of possible increases in property taxes and must be held prior to the time the taxing district levies the taxes or makes requests to have the levies adopted. So that's December 12th. And that's all my comments I have for this item.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Any questions, Commissioner Mensah? Okay, no questions for me. I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to set a public hearing on December 5th, 2023 at 4 PM or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, Room 110, to receive public comments on the revenue sources for the 2024-25 biennium budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you. Okay, moving on to Community Planning and Economic Development, item 5A. It's interlocal agreement amendment for voluntary stewardship program. And Ashley Rye, our Community Planning Manager, will present this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Ashley Rye, Community Planning Manager. This item is an amendment to the interlocal agreement with the Thurston Conservation District to complete technical assistance and other monitoring work for the Voluntary Stewardship Program. The amendment is necessary to add $398,906.25 to the budget to accommodate additional pass-through funding from the State Conservation Commission for monitoring and cost share projects. These cost share projects fund best management practices like manure storage facilities and exclusionary fencing on local farms to help protect water quality. This amendment will increase the total pass-through compensation amount to $618,906.25. The current interlocal agreement for $220,000 is funded entirely by State Conservation Commission contract funds approved by the board on August 29, 2023. Staff is requesting the Commissioners move to approve this amendment and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement and any amendments that extend the agreement up to 1 year and that do not exceed the total amount by 10%. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Questions, Commissioner Mensah? No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve an amendment to the Voluntary Stewardship Program interlocal agreement with Thurston Conservation District to accommodate an additional $7,500 for monitoring support and $391,406.25 for State Conservation Commission funded cost share projects for the period of September 18, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement and any amendments that extend the agreement up to 1 year and does not exceed the total amount by 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah? Aye. Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, moving on to Public Defense. Item 6A is approval of contract with the Washington State Office of Legal Aid. of Civil Legal Aid. Patrick O'Connor, Public Defense Director, will present this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Patrick O'Connor, Thurston County Public Defense Director. I'm here today to ask the board to authorize me in my capacity as the Director of Thurston County Public Defense to approve a contract between our agency and the Washington State Office of Civil Legal Aid, otherwise known as OCLA. OCLA put out a opportunity for counties around the state to compete for a contract to provide indigent defendants legal counsel for remission of legal financial obligations due to prior criminal convictions. I'm happy to announce that Thurston County Public Defense was selected as one of the agencies to be a recipient of this opportunity. The funding is current funding, should I sign the contract today through 2025, and it's not to exceed $364,000 and $525 of $364,000. So essentially what this will do is provide one public defender to do this work in my office and one paralegal to do this work in my office during the period of the contract. Happy to answer any questions, but for the community's sake, now when you call the public defender's office, we can provide you an attorney to get you legal financial obligation relief. It is something I never thought I'd see in my career as a public defender. And as the board knows, we had a very successful legal financial obligation reconsideration day last year. It was a one-time event and relieved individuals of over $500,000 worth of legal financial obligation debt that they were entitled to be relieved. And now we can provide that ongoing service for people who need it that qualify. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions. Thank you, sir.
Questions, Commissioner Mensah?
Pat, when we had this come up, and I think I might have asked this, but since we're here at the public, kind of, at the final stage of this action, the types of financial obligations are pretty broad, right? And
They are.
and then the reason I'm asking is because there's the reference in here to war on drugs.
Yeah,
and
so-
that's like the larger, if you can just explain that so people aren't confused about what this does.
Sure. So what, obviously, some of the collateral consequences of substance use disorder prior to some of the changes we saw in 2018 with legal financial obligations were criminal justice involvement for things like property crimes, drug-related property crimes, a whole host of criminal activity that was related to substance use disorder. So with those convictions, individuals were assessed legal financial obligation debt that they still carry with them today. And prior to some of the reformation through the state legislature on legal financial obligation relief, this debt compounded at 12% interest annually. And so individuals that had convictions from 2005, 2006 end up owing in excess of $10,000, $20,000 for a single conviction. So that's sort of the umbrella. That's why that statement's in there. So hopefully that answers your question, gives the community a little more information. We will be reaching out through various social media accounts, including on our website, on how individuals can get a hold of our office to see if they're eligible for such relief and other ways to get this out to the community.
Is that 12% still on the books?
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. So those were some of the big changes, is that this interest no longer compounds.
Okay, very good. Thank
Or
you.
is assessed at all, frankly.
Thanks.
Okay. Any additional questions, comments? I'm ready for a motion.
Okay, I move to approve the contract with Washington State Office of Civil Legal Aid in order to provide outreach, legal representation, and education carefully designed to redress the harm inflicted by the war on drugs affected October 1, 2023 through June 30, 2025 for the Washington State Office of Civil Legal Aid to pay Thurston County Public Defense an amount not to exceed $364,525 and to authorize the Director of Public Defense to sign the contract and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay, Public Health and Social Services, item 7A is the 2023 through 2025 interlocal agreement with Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for Criminal Justice Treatment Account Funds, and Shaylin Sowers, Data Analyst, will present this item.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners. Shaylin Sowers, Treatment Sales Tax. As you know, Thurston County receives an annual allocation of Criminal Justice Treatment Account CJTA funding from the State of Washington Healthcare Authority. And this funding is managed by Public Health and Social Services and must be spent on substance use disorder treatment and recovery support services for individuals involved in the criminal justice system. One element of the Thurston County CJTA plan that the board approved in September is housing support, including case management and rental assistance as a recovery support for eligible individuals. So today I am asking the board to approve an interlocal agreement that would provide $91,000 per year. That would be July 1st to June 30th for a total of $182,000 in CJTA funding to the Thurston Mason BHASO to provide housing to participants that are involved in the criminal justice system and have a substance use disorder. And this would be for the period of July 1st, 2023 towards June 30th, 2025, and also authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Mensah, any questions? Okay, no questions from me. I'm ready for a motion, sir.
Move to approve an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for a total of $182,000 in criminal justice treatment account funds for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Public Works, item AA, resolution and call for sealed bids for Johnson Point Road and Hawks Prairie Road intersection improvements project CP number 61364. Brian Meyer, Engineering Project Manager, will present this item.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Brian Meyer, Engineering Projects Manager, Thurston County Public Works. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to call for sealed bids for a contract to construct the Johnson Point Road and Hawks Prairie Road intersection improvement project, CP 61364. The current intersection is unsignalized with a stop-controlled approach on Hawks Prairie Road. The roadway have limited sight distance and inadequate street lighting. This project will construct a single-lane roundabout at the intersection of Johnson Point and Hawks Prairie Road and will include wider shoulders, street lights, storm drainage, and other associated work. The improvements will improve mobility and safety at the intersection for drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists by decreasing vehicle speed and conflict points and adding street lighting. The total estimated construction cost is approximately $3 million. Public Works received $2,774,000 in federal funding from the Federal Highway Administration grant through the Surface Transportation Program, and the remaining funding will come from the Transportation Impact Fee, sorry. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those now.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, ma'am.
Commissioner Mensah? Okay, no questions for me. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the resolution calling for sealed bids and authorize the county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the Johnson Point Road and Hawks Prairie Road intersection improvement project CP 61364.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, item 8B, resolution and call for sealed bids for the Pacific Avenue Pavement Preservation Project, CP number 98408.
Good afternoon again. So this project is similar to Johnson Point. We're asking permission from the board to call for sealed bids for the construction contract for Pacific Avenue Pavement Preservation Project 98408. This project will address pavement surface conditions on Pacific Avenue between Lacey City Limits and Union Mills Road. Improvements will include grinding and removing the top layer of asphalt and replacing it with fiber reinforced hot mix asphalt. Along with these improvements of the road surface, Public Works will be upgrading sidewalks, sidewalk ramps, and driveway ramps to meet current American with Disability Act standards. The total estimated construction cost is $2,480,000, and 100% of the funding will come from the National Pavement Preservation Program grant. I'll be happy to answer any questions with this one.
Questions, Commissioner
No
Edwards?
questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer? Okay, I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve the resolution calling for sealed bids and authorize the county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the Pacific Avenue Southeast Pavement Preservation Project, CP 98408.
There a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I'd just like to point out that these last couple of items here adds up to a lot of money. And because Brian and his team spend a lot of time digging into how we can fund these projects and where we might be able to get other funding, it makes us successful. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer? Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, and then last item from Brian, item 8C, resolution and call for sealed bids for the Yelm Highway Southeast Pavement Preservation Project, CP number 98409.
So I'll stick with the same theme we've got going. So Public Works is requesting permission from the board to call for sealed bids for the Yelm Highway Pavement Improvement Project, 98409. This project will address the pavement surfaces between on Yelm Highway between Rich Road and Lacey City limits. This will include the grinding of the top few inches of asphalt and replacing with hot mix asphalt. Along with those improvements, we'll be upgrading sidewalks, sidewalk ramps, driveway ramps to meet the current American with Disability Act standards. The total estimated construction cost is $2,730,000 and is 100% funded through the National Pavement Preservation Program. I'll be happy to answer any questions on that one.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Menzer? Okay, I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve the resolution calling for sealed bids and authorize the county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the Yelm Highway Southeast Pavement Preservation Project, CP number 98409.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, item 8D.
Brian, before you go, isn't it traffic impact fees?
It's transportation impact fees.
Is that right? We just say traffic?
You got that from me. I always say traffic.
Okay.
I messed up
I'll
the
blame
first
Matt.
time. We called it traffic for the first few years
Okay.
wrongly.
Okay.
And so we've been
Well,
trying
good,
to
that's-
ingrain in our heads the correct.
Perfect. Then I'm glad I asked because I've been calling it traffic impact fees too.
Thanks, Matt. Item 8D is the request for proposal for a collection, transportation, recycling, and/or disposal of used oil, antifreeze, and oil filter services contract. And Gerald is here to present this item.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Gerald Towsley. I'm the Solid Waste Facility Operations Manager at the Waste Recovery Center. Thurston County Public Works and Public Health and Social Services Departments coordinate a used oil collection network with 2 private sites, the transfer station at the Waste and Recovery Center, the Rainier and Rochester drop box sites, and the local marina. A total of 8 350-gallon tanks are serviced, with used oil collection averaging 68,000 gallons per year. Thurston County is also a collection center for spent antifreeze coolant and used oil filters, which are collected at the main hazardous waste collection facility, Hazel House, and collected at the 2 drop box sites. Spent antifreeze collection averages 5,600 gallons per year, and used oil filter collection averages 86 55-gallon barrels per year. Public Works has a need for a collection, transportation, recycling, and/or disposal of used oil, antifreeze, and oil filters on an ongoing basis, and would like to enter into a service contract up to 5 years term to guarantee service and pricing. The initial term will be for 1 year with 4 one-year renewal options. The estimate cost for the 5-year term is $200,000. All contract expenditures will be funded through revenues from the solid waste facility tipping fees and grant funding from the Department of Ecology. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer? No questions for me. I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to authorize Public Works to issue a request for proposal for collection, transportation, recycling, and/or disposal of used oil, antifreeze, and oil filters from various county waste collection sites.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, last item, department item from the treasurer's office is item 9A, is to authorize the sale of tax title property via private negotiation to Dale J. Lugger. And we have our treasurer, Jeff Gadman, with us today. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. Is this working? This is for the sale of a tax title property. It's near the intersection of 93rd Avenue and Little Rock Road. This property we've had as tax title since 2014. If you recall, tax title properties are properties that were subject to foreclosure auction that received 0 bids at auction. And the person who is offering to buy this property is wanting to buy this property for preservation and to get it back on the tax rolls, which I think is very noble. Salmon Creek runs through the middle of this property, and it has been deemed 100% wetland. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Not at this time, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
Yes. Treasurer Gadman, it's true that we've done a whole, I don't know how many, but a couple dozen probably of these types of tax title sales in the recent years. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there anything different about the process in this one as to ones that we've done in recent years?
No.
Okay.
No, other than there's been a couple we've taken to auction, but as far as private negotiation, the process is identical.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. No questions from me. I'm ready for a motion.
I move to authorize the Thurston County Treasurer's Office to sell property number 12720220300 via private negotiation per RCW 3635-120, 3635-130, 3635-150, and County Code 2105.
Thank you. Is there, second? So it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I feel that this is at the least, a very unfair process. I would encourage citizens that might wonder why I'm referring to it in that vein. This particular property that is being sold was last offered for auction 10 years ago and did not receive any bids. The property is 100% surrounded and has no access to this property other than through other adjoining properties, but no legal access to this property. There was no auction on this issue. There was only one bid that was accepted. And I have had discussions with the county treasurer, and I want to commend him for making the effort that he is making, trying to dispose of these county properties, by the way, at the request of the county board, to get them off the books and back onto the tax rolls. I just do not feel that this is a fair process, as the adjoining property owners were never contacted and made aware that they could bid on this property. And when I contacted one of the property owners, they said, yes, they were very interested and were wondering what the process might be. So in the past, we have had similar situations develop, at which time when a property was sold or came up to be sold, and again, there was only the one party bidding on it. When I contacted adjoining parties in that particular issue, they said, yes, they were very interested and in fact had contacted the county about 5 years prior and had been told that when the county did decide to get rid of this property, they would be notified and have opportunity to bid on it. That never happened. And I think it never happened through an innocent mistake in which we had sometime after that contact asked the treasurer to see if he could dispose of this property. All these 200 properties that we have, most of them are very insignificant. This property is a 7-acre property, although it's alleged that it's not a usable property. It's a dry creek that does occasionally get wet, and it could easily be used for pasture, if nothing else. And I believe it's a fairness issue that we never contacted these individuals, the same as we never contacted the other individuals that I'm referring to. That property ended up going back for an auction. And I think this property should go back for an option. So I'm asking my seatmates to oppose this particular action. And by doing so, we will meet the legal requirements that apparently that the prosecutor's office has put on the treasurer, because he did accept an offer and in good faith, but we are the final arbitrators and the ones that are asked to sign off on this sale. I cannot sign off on a sale that I feel is erroneous, to say the best. I'm not going to say there is any nefarious intent. Again, I want to compliment the assessor for his actions on attempting to get rid of this unusable surplus property and get it back on the tax rolls. So that is my objection, and I hope that we will be able to develop a policy, as we did talk about earlier today, and coming up with a system so that we aren't individually directing ways to handle these individual properties, that we can handle the rest of the 200 remaining properties, or close to 200 remaining properties, in a similar fashion without having to go through this. And I might comment to any of those citizens that are interested in this property and you want to see our discussion, because we had about a 45-minute discussion this morning on this property. And we did this at our agenda setting, and it's the first part of our agenda setting. So I would encourage you to take a look and see how this is progressing. And one way or the other, I think we're probably going to move forward with an adjustment to how we're doing this. It's just that I feel it is not fair to sell without it going to bid a property that's listed in the assessor's roll at $45,000 and sell this at a price of $7,500 without a bidding process. So thank you to my seatmates for in allowing me to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any additional comments, discussion?
Yes, I would say that we have a process. We've been using it for a number of years. We follow that process. Commissioner Edwards has brought up a lot of different concerns, and we directed, I think the board unanimously directed the county manager to work through some changes to the process that might make things a little more, expanding notice and whatnot, getting a way to get more bids, which is really, but at this juncture, I feel like we need to follow through with the, with this particular item, because it has been right in line with the process that we've laid out. And so I'm going to vote to move forward today. I'm also going to support the effort to look at some of the things we talked about this morning, and I echo Commissioner Edwards' if you're really interested in this topic, there's a very detailed discussion that was had this morning on this topic.
Yeah, I agree with what's been said by the vice chair in terms of, I feel like at this point in the process with this specific property, the treasurer has followed the process. It's come through. This has been available for purchase for since when, treasurer? You said
2014.
2014, and this is the first offer that we've received to purchase and to put it back into the tax rolls. And the process that we talked about this morning with, and that the board directed, was to re-notify all the adjacent property owners of the 200 properties that we have on tax title to see if there's any interest in them purchasing those. But I do believe that at this point in the process that where we're at, it just, until we update that process, then maybe we can, but at this time, it's just, I think we're a little bit too late in the game to modify. Commissioner Edwards.
I guess I would like to close this with the facts that although a citizen may have been able to scour all of the county records that we have over, hard telling how many properties, both public and private. And if you were a land use attorney, you may have been able to find where this might have been available for sale under certain conditions. But there's no way that the everyday citizen would have been able to know that this property was coming up for sale at this point in time. And I believe it should have been noticed at least to the adjoining property owners of this property in which there is no access. There's no legal access for a citizen to walk to this property, let alone drive to this property. I guess they could take a helicopter and fly in and land on this property, but I think we are creating a very serious potential community problem by taking this out of the hands of the government, because now it belongs to Thurston County in trust. And if we take this action to sell this property, it now becomes a privately held property with someone that's going to be upset that they can't either access the property, or someone that is upset that owns the property that the access needs to go through. So I just think it is a major step in the wrong direction. Even though we've got a plan to do something in the future, it is never too late to do the right thing. And I believe this is the right thing to postpone this. It's the legal thing that if we do not approve this sale, it just goes back to status quo. The prior agreement made by the treasurer is no longer an obligation of the treasurer or the county, because this board did not rubber stamp the treasurer's action. So that's where I'm at on this issue, and I hope my seatmates would reflect on that. But I really think we're setting the wrong precedents if we move ahead knowing that there's a problem. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing that there's no more discussion, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Can I do a
Yes.
quick public service announcement?
Yes.
So all of the tax title properties are in an isolated list off the homepage for the Thurston County Treasurer. So anybody that wants to look at these properties can do it 24 hours a day. And being tax title properties, they are for sale 100% of the time. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, treasurer.
Okay, with that, we'll go into our standing items. Item 10A, Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee. Oh, I just noticed the time. Okay,
Should we just squeeze it in?
yeah, we'll go ahead and squeeze it in and then we'll start our public hearing. That way we can. So Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Okay, this past week, I did attend the Washington County's Insurance Fund Board Trustees meeting. That was over in Chelan. And basically what it's all about is trying to keep the cost of health insurance down for the taxpayers here in Thurston County. That would be one issue, my normal constituent interactions with citizens. But I did attend the WASC conference call on county budgets yesterday. And I will make mention that we are not the only ones in the state of Washington, the counties that are suffering through some tough times in our budget. So I just point that out, that we're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer?
Yes, thank you. I participated in the SIM workshop, and I'm gonna forget what that stands for. A simulated intercept model. Sequential, that's the word. This relates to the criminal justice system and looking at each piece of a system that somebody goes through it and trying to figure out where there are gaps in providing service and helping get things moving more effectively. So that was a day-and-a-half workshop. Attended the Grand Mountain Rochester Chamber meeting and presented on county business as I do monthly. Attended the YWCA Gala where Marcia Warnock was awarded the Woman of Achievement for 2023. And Dr. Thelma Jackson gave a very inspiring speech on anti-racism. And then taped Coffee with a Commissioner on pretrial services system with our prosecuting attorney, pretrial services director, director of public defense, and Superior Court Judge Christine Schaller. So that'll be coming in a couple of weeks. And constituent issues related to Summit Lake, water quality issues, and then ongoing issues related to protection of mature complex forests in Capital State Forest.
Thank you. I attended the internal audit committee yesterday, and I also attended internal meetings with staff, Regional Housing Council Executive Committee meeting. I Experience Olympia and Beyond is working on the Destination Master Plan, and I talked with them for around 30 minutes about our vision for Thurston County. I attended the SSMCP Elected Officials Council where Nisqually Chairman Willie Frank presented as well as Congresswoman Strickland. I attended SWAC meeting. I also attended the entrance conference for the state auditor. And Intercity Transit, they have a new general manager, which was announced. It is Emily Burkamp. So she is currently the interim, and so she is now the new GM. And then I did confirm that the Park Foundation contract is not signed. So just as that's something that we've been working on. Okay, next, the county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of November 7th, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner. Immediately following this meeting, you have two public hearings scheduled. We recommend that you begin with the increasing the membership of the Thurston County Board of Health, which is consistent with RCWs, and follow that with the public hearing on the Lacey Joint Plan update. On Wednesday, November 8th, at 9 a.m., you have the 2023 Comprehensive Plan Amendments Board Briefing. At 10 a.m., you'll be discussing the Nisqually Tribal Permitting briefing. At noon, you have a Board of County Commissioners and elected officials meeting. At 1 o'clock on Wednesday, you have the 2024 precinct maintenance briefing. And at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, the post-hearing board briefing regarding the Lacey Joint Plan. So it's the follow-up to one of this afternoon's public hearings. On Thursday, November 9th, you have the Solid Waste Advisory Committee update. At 10 a.m., the Commissioners check-in. At 1:30, a winter preparedness briefing. At 2 o'clock, you have the State of the Auditor's Office briefing. At 2:30, a Lake Management District update briefing. And at 5 p.m. on Thursday, you are signed up to attend the Thurston County Sports Awards. On Friday, November 10th, county offices are closed for Veterans Day. And next week, the board will be attending the Washington State Association of Counties, also known as WASAC, Leadership Conference from Monday through Thursday. So that is the coming week.
Thank you. So our next meeting will be held on November 21st at 2 p.m. Okay, any questions? Okay, we are adjourned with our regular meeting, and now we'll be moving into our public hearings. So I'll ask the board how they would like to proceed. We have two. There is one for the membership for the Board of Health, and there is one for the Lacey Joint Plan.
Again, my recommendation is that you do the Board of Health first. It should be very fast. And then the rest of your time this afternoon can be spent
Okay,
on.
so we'll go ahead and start with that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with a public hearing for Thurston County Code 2.7.010, an ordinance amending the code to increase the membership of the Thurston County Board of Health. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public testimony on the proposed ordinance increasing Thurston County Board of Health. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined in person, by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston. I'm sorry, can we keep it a little down, please? Thank you. So the information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Rob Gelder, Assistant County Manager, will provide information on this topic. Assuming members of the public on Zoom wish to testify, I will read your name out loud. You will have 3 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you're called on, please state your name and address for the record. The clerk of the board will review the timer. The public hearing is now open. Rob Gilder will now present background information of the proposal, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board.
Thank you, Commissioners. Again, for the record, Rob Gelder, Assistant County Manager. That the board will recall in May of 2020, Governor Inslee signed House Bill 1152, which amended RCW 70.05.030. Which provides that the membership of the County Board of Health shall include the Board of County Commissioners, and requires that the composition of the Board of Health include non-elected members who represent community interests such as public health, healthcare facilities, providers, consumers of public health, and other community stakeholders in a tribal representation. The RCW further requires that the number of non-elected members of the Board of Health to equal the number of city and county elected officials. You'll recall also that the board implemented these requirements in 2022. At the 2022 board general election, the voters of Thurston County approved increasing the number of county commissioners from 3 to 5, with the 2 additional county commissioners to be elected at the general election today. And to assume their terms in of office on January 1st of 2024. As a result of the additional 2 county commissioners, RCW 70.05030 requires the Board of Health to include 2 additional positions that are not elected officials, increasing the Board of Health to a total of 12 members effective January 1st of 2024. Thus, the Thurston County Code, Chapter 2.07 must be amended to provide for the additional Board of Health members required as a result of 2 new additional county commissioners. and I'm happy to answer any questions. We have not received any public comment, emailed or otherwise to date.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner
No
Edwards?
questions, ma'am.
Any questions, Commissioner Mensah?
Yes, you said that the number of non-electeds has to match the number of elected, but isn't it that the number of electeds can't exceed the non-electeds? You could have more non-electeds if you wanted to.
Correct, we could.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we will open it up for public testimony. There is no one on the sign-up sheet. I know we have a room full of people, but I'm guessing they're not here for this one, but I'll ask, is anyone here for the membership for the Thurston County Board of Health? No? Okay. Anyone on Zoom present for the membership of the Thurston County Board of Health? Okay. There is none. So with that, we will move on to discussion.
I have no further discussion, ma'am.
Okay,
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, are we ready to approve the ordinance?
I am.
Okay.
I move to approve the ordinance amending Thurston County Code 27010, increasing the membership of the Thurston County Board of Health.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, so that will conclude our first public hearing. Now moving into the meat and potatoes, why everyone is here. Thank you all for coming today. So this is a public hearing for the comprehensive plan docket item CPA-1, an update to the Lacey Joint Plan. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public testimony on the proposed update of the Lacey Joint Plan. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined in person, by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select announcements of public hearings. The information to join this public hearing remotely has been posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Our staff, Leah Davis, will provide information on this topic. Assuming members of the public on Zoom wish to testify, I will read your name out loud. You will have 3 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you're called on, please state your name and address for the record, and the clerk of the board will review the timer. So I will go through the list of the people who have signed up. If you didn't get a chance to sign up, I will give you an opportunity to provide public comment, and then we will move on to Zoom. The public hearing is now open. Leah Davis will now present background information of the proposal, written comments submitted, and any additional information requested by the board. Go ahead, Leah.
Good afternoon, commissioners and members of the public. This hearing is an opportunity to accept and consider public testimony on the update to the Lacey Joint Plan. The Growth Management Act requires joint planning between counties and cities. This planning helps residents prepare for if and when areas of the UGA are annexed to the city. Once adopted, a joint plan becomes an element of the counties and cities' comprehensive plans. A joint plan is based on the most current comprehensive plan. Thurston County and the City of Lacey first adopted a joint plan in 1994. The last significant update to the joint plan was in 2003. This proposed draft is a full repeal and replacement of the 2003 plan. The changes in this plan include updated formatting, updated background information that includes population and housing projections. Consideration for current conditions, such as specific additions, are some goals and policies for affordable housing and a clearer vision for the future of the Martin Way corridor. So I'm going to provide a brief timeline of the work that's been done on the joint plan to date. A joint planning commission work session was held August 23rd, 2023. A planning commission public hearing was held September 27th, 2023, followed by another work session where the Thurston County Planning Commission made recommendations to the board. Rolled into this joint plan are 5 separate amendments, and it includes 3 proposed site-specific land use and rezoning amendments. The first is at 9041 Pacific Highway. It is 3 small parcels that total 6.77 acres, currently zoned neighborhood commercial, with a request to rezone it to moderate density residential. The next is at 9520 Stellicum Road. It's 14.95 acres, currently zoned mineral extraction. It is an old gravel mine. The request was to rezone it to low-density residential with a suggestion by the Planning Commission to rezone it to a higher density, so moderate density residential, which is 6 to 12 units per acre. The last but not least is 2427 Carpenter Road. It is 3.13 acres of a 12.12 acre site. That 3.13 acres is currently zoned moderate density. The request is to rezone it to low density. The next amendment is that the city requested low density residential zoning consolidation in the Lacey urban growth area. Currently, the county has 2 low-density zoning designations, low-density 0 to 4 and low-density 3 to 6, and the request is that we consolidate those into 1 low-density residential 0 to 6 units per acre. The city also requested an urban growth area expansion of 182 acres of rural county for the Greg Cuyo Park. There is a recommendation supporting this from the Thurston Regional Planning Council Urban Growth Management Subcommittee. A SEPA determination of non-significance was issued September 29th, 2023, and became final on October 20th. No comments were received from the SEPA. October 4th, Lacey City Council provided a recommendation to adopt the Lacey Joint Plan. On October 16th, through a staff briefing, the Board of County Commissioners reviewed the Planning Commission and City Council recommendations before moving forward to schedule this public hearing. We did receive about 55 written comments before noon today. 13 of those were received through the Planning Commission process. The remainder were received through the Board of County Commissioners public hearing process. Most of them refer to the rezone at 9520 Stellicum Road. It's important to note that this public hearing was duly noticed by a legal notice in the Olympian, a web mailer sent directly to people who requested it. A postcard was sent to residents within 300 feet of each site-specific proposed zoning amendment. A press release was issued November 1st, and the county webpage was updated timely and consistently with the schedule and all materials. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Leah?
No questions at this point. Thank you.
No questions? Okay.
This time.
Okay. That will move on to public comment. Okay. If you mark no, I will still call you just in case you change your mind and you want to provide public testimony. So we'll start with the first person. It's Lynn Larson.
Yes, my name is Lynn Larson. I live at 2610 Carpenter Road Northeast. We have 30 acres right across the street from this property, the Forster McDaniel property they're requesting to be rezoned. I don't know, I think the county made a mistake on zoning this moderate density because it's 12 acres total, and they've somehow zoned 3.14 acres as moderate density. And we don't have any public water or public sewer in this area. It's out in the country. The closest water to the city of Olympia or city of Lacey is about a quarter mile away to the top of the hill where it meets Dram Street. And the McDaniels bought this property with their daughter and husband and family, so they could build a house there. And they don't want to build 36 houses, just one. And there was an existing house on the property already. So there'll only be 2 houses on the 12 acres. So I'd recommend that they approve this. They've been waiting about 3 years, I believe, to get the rezone request because the pandemic slowed everything down. So I think it's to their interest and to the county's interest to zone this low density so they can get their house built and not cause any more delays for them. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is John Woodford.
I have a couple of maps I'd like to pass to each of you.
Yeah.
And
Clerk of the board will collect those and.
My name is John Woodford. I live at 7541 Holmes Island Road, and that's on Long Lake. And I find it amazing that this is the first significant update in 20 years, and all we're talking about is 4 or 5 small parcels that want to be rezoned. It seems like there's a much bigger thing to be looking at of population increase and how are we going to handle it. And what I see in this document is just a continuation of, I don't want to call it urban sprawl, it's suburban sprawl. It's, while it's not a part of this document or this consideration, Lacey is overlooking a great potential for very high density housing in what I call downtown Lacey. And that's the area between College and the Chehalis Trail and from I-5 down to Pacific. We got an almost empty shopping center there that could become very high density housing and be downtown. It's within a block of the Lacey Transit Terminal. St. Martin's is right across College. If there's a downtown Lacey, that's where it is. And there's almost no residential. There's unused office buildings. Again, that's not really what we're here for. What I want to stress is the McAllister aquaculture, the sensitive area on the south side of the railroad tracks. And that whole thing should be removed from development. As this was discussed at the Joint Planning Commission meetings, I spoke about it, other people spoke about it, and I find it interesting that it's not on the agenda. The entire thing is that aquifer is providing the majority of the water for Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater, and a lot of unincorporated Thurston County. And the way it's set up now, they can build very dense housing. And in fact, at one project, the Manor House project, and the second drawing that I showed you is a plan of that project. And I feel that should be stopped in its tracks. They've started some site prep work on it. And I think you just got to get rid of it. That is not the way to increase population density for Lacey. It's in Lacey. It's not sprawling out over rural Thurston County. And I've always felt keep rural Thurston County rural. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Larry Taylor.
Hello, I'm Larry Taylor. I live at 9642 Regency Loop Southeast, bordering the old quarry. And most of the folks here are concerned about the latest proposal of making it medium density. So We were all fine with low density. Everyone around is low density. Where we live in Regency 2, Ridgeview 2, excuse me, it's approximately a third of an acre. There's a few that are half an acre. So that's 3 houses per acre. Ridgeview 1's the same way. And then there's Nisqually Bluffs, approximately 4 per acre, and Stellicum Ridge on the south side of this old quarry across from Stellicum Road, it's about 6 per acre. So we were all fine with low density, 0 to 4, and that's what MC Construction proposed in a rezoning change from mineral extraction. Well, then all of a sudden we got this curveball recently that the Planning Commission threw in. It's sort of like a hopper, I would call it, and all of a sudden it's gone from low density, 0 to 4 originally, to 0 to 6, now possibly 6 to 12 moderate density. And we're like, whoa, that's just way too much, and there's several reasons. It probably will hurt property values, especially depending on what they put in there. Apartments, whatever. If everything bordering this zone, this old quarry is single-family homes, that's what we're happy with. But we're also going to have problems with traffic, schools. We already have racing, used to have racing up and down Ridgeview, and we put in roundabouts, chicanes, and it slowed the traffic. But still this past summer, 2 cars were totaled just driving up and down Ridgeview. And you go out to Stellicum Road, you actually have some pretty loud cars going through there at high speed. So, and you want to put high density next to this. Plus, there's a good letter that Jim Thornton wrote. I started it, and he added a lot of environmental stuff. And I've given it to Leah, excuse me, and it's been a pleasure to work with her. And she responds very quickly. But anyway, our main concern is we think we're going down the wrong path on even thinking about moderate density. So, and also another guy who works in environmental, Jeff Wilson, he brought up the fact, and he works over for Puyallup, he's in charge of development over there, that this proposal actually, it looks to him like it might violate the Washington, well, it doesn't fulfill, I should say, it doesn't fulfill the Washington Administrative Code that he quotes, which is 197-11-800-6C. Anyway, Leah has all the details, but basically it says he cannot find any information that the environmental was done for this action, which is a rezone to possibly moderate density. So, and once again, I don't want to bore you with reading you the details of his letter, but it's all been turned in. We want to voice our concern and our request to turn down moderate density. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next is Rebecca Kirkland.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Kirkland. I live at 738 Alma Lane, Olympia, and that is in the Nisqually Bluff neighborhood, which is directly adjacent to the proposed development. And as you can see, these are my neighbors, and the neighbors in the development, just Ridgeview, which is on the other side of the proposed development. And as you can see, these are people who are able to come at 3:30 in the afternoon. Not all of us got the postcards, because if it's just 300 feet, a good portion of my neighborhood didn't even get a postcard, and word of mouth, some of them are here today. But if you see this many people are here, think of the other neighbors who cannot be here but are also very concerned about the possibility of a change in our community, which now is a very pleasant neighborhood. Ours is a small neighborhood that only has one way in, one way out. It's a loop and single-family homes, and we have nice walking paths that go over to Ridgeview, our neighboring community. It's very lovely, very peaceful. The neighborhood across the way is developed. It's a little higher density than ours, but still very nice and still considered low density. And so we're very concerned at a higher level of density will change our lifestyle and, of course, our property values. And as you know, our home, investment in a home is generally for most people, our largest asset. And so we take that very seriously that we could lose the value of our home. And we're thinking down the line, 5 years from now, we would expect to have, a higher property value than we have now. But we don't want a development that's medium density to go in, and especially if it were apartments, where there are a lot of, people are just more transient in apartments, and don't necessarily have the same investment in a community as we do as single-family home owners. So I know the letter that was sent and signed by many of us has a lot of detail, and I'm just as a neighbor, as a resident, expressing concerns about the loss of our lifestyle, our community, and our property values. And I would hope that those of you who are making a decision would come out and visit, see that property that's going to be developed, and see the neighboring communities, and imagine for yourselves, what would it be like if apartment buildings were built there? And I realize that the county, that we do need more places for folks to live, but I think there are appropriate places for apartments to be built. The first gentleman who spoke mentioned that maybe, there are places like downtown Lacey, that would be a great place for apartments. Over where it's being developed, over close to, on the other side of the freeway from where we are, there's lots of space out there and lots of places for apartments to go in, and so I applaud that. But I wish you would go out and see our neighborhood and see, do you think apartment buildings would be appropriate here?
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time and for your consideration.
I just have a clarifying question for
Yes.
you. And which property are you?
I'm in Nisqually Bluff.
Which of the property, are you talking about the Steelicum?
Yes, this is Stilicum, yes, where the quarry is currently.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Steve Kern.
Hi, I'm Steve Kern. I live at 9645 Regency Loop, so I'm part of the Ridgeview community. A lot of the best points have already been raised, so I won't go on and on. I think that most of us here are not averse to development itself. In fact, I kind of welcome one thing, this homeless encampment that started right down inside the quarry. We brought this up at the Planning Commission meeting last month. The property owner came out with a deputy and told the person he was trespassing, but to the best of my knowledge, he's still down there. So, we don't want this to turn into an even larger problem than it already is, but you know what happens sometimes with these homeless encampments. I think that the main thing that I want to drive home is that we testified regarding a low-density option that was never brought up that they would switch to medium density. And I feel like we kind of got the rug pulled out from underneath us, that it was suddenly upgraded to medium density, which is up to 12 homes per acre. I mean, I don't see personally how more than 6 per acre are going to fit on that property unless they start putting in apartment buildings. And we've already heard the comments regarding that. Martin Way, up and down Martin Way, there have been so many apartment buildings built in the last 5 years that I think the county has done an adequate amount of providing for apartment buildings in that particular sector of Thurston County. But I think that the comments regarding compatibility between the 3 existing housing areas that border this quarry and any future quarry development, they should still be compatible with each other. And I think low density is the only answer for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jeffrey Johnston. You marked no, but just want to give you the opportunity. Okay. Next is Evan Men.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Appreciate your time today. I'm with Soundville Homes, representing or speaking today on behalf of the Nisqually Bluff project, or what is Silicon Road in the joint plan that you're considering at this time. So I think we can all agree that we're currently in the midst of basically a massive housing affordability crisis. And part of this joint plan effort is to alleviate that crisis by implementing density where density is needed. And typically that's done in urban areas. These areas that are being considered are definitely in the urban corridors and have urban facilities. So speaking in favor of the proposed changes that the county staff and the city of Lacey have come forward with in the joint plan. Particularly speaking about Silicon Road, it's important to note that that site has all urban facilities available and ready. It would be a shame to have a site that has all urban facilities available, basically downzoned or zoned in a way that doesn't accomplish any of the goals that the county and the city have in the way of densities within their jurisdiction. While all of those facilities are readily available, it meets effectively all of the standards necessary for the medium density residential zone. So again, speaking in favor of the plan in front of you, and hope to get your approval on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is Bill Peabody.
And you marked no, just want to, no? Okay. Okay, that is the end of my list. Is there anyone? Okay.
Hello, my name is Marion Riley. I live in the Nisqually Bluffs neighborhood at 647 Torta Lane Southeast. I've lived there 10 years. And I'm disappointed to hear about Soundville's recommendation to approve the medium density based on the fact that he says the services are already there, the utilities and such. Well, they are there, I agree, but they're not there to this capacity that they need for medium density development. The road is a country road that leads down to a windy country road out into the Nisqually Valley. It's not well marked. It gets a lot of traffic now because of the development across from the Nisqually Bluffs, the new development there. There's stormwater drain issues that have not been addressed. There are school issues that have not been addressed. So my concern is, yes, there are utilities in those areas, but they're certainly not to the capacity that you would need for a medium density development. And I urge you to reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Mike Werner. I live at 9647 Regency Loop, Southeast. That's in the Ridgeview neighborhood. I'm one of the board of directors of the Homeowners Association there, and I wanted to paint a better picture of this location for you. I want to make sure everybody understands, because the gravel quarry is in the middle of these three developments that you've heard from tonight. All three of these developments surround this. If you're standing in the quarry, to the north is Ridgeview 2 development, and to the west is Ridgeview 2 development. To the south is Stellacom Ridge, which is Rob Rice development of low density, and to the east is the Nisqually Bluffs development, also of low density. So this is surrounded by low density housing. As the young lady was mentioning before, it is on a small road, Stellacom Road, 2-lane roads each way. And as you come out of that and take a left, you go into a very treacherous downhill. It's often closed off during the wintertime because of the roads there. So I would not be in favor of moderate density housing there. I want to echo all the other homeowners. How many homeowners here from Ridgeview 2? Raise your hands. So our neighborhood is interested. There's 72 homes in Ridgeview 2, 71 in Ridgeview 1. It's developed at different times, and I can't speak for the other two, but almost everyone in our neighborhood is interested in keeping it low density. I'm surprised to hear that Sound Built feels otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone?
I'm Bethany Davis. I live at 9445 Marlbrook Loop Southeast in Ridgeview 2. Traffic is going to be a huge concern. Already, we have substantial number of commuters using Ridgeview Drive through from Steilacoom to Martin Way. This traffic has backed up for 4 hours. If there's a problem with the on-ramp to I-5, we had stalled traffic both directions in our neighborhood. And again, this is the only in and out of our neighborhood in the summertime due to an accident on the on-ramp or in that area. So in having a medium density apartment or medium density housing is going to add to the traffic going on Ridgeview. Ridgeview should be 25 miles an hour, slowing down to 15 miles an hour for our roundabouts. The problem is we've had 2 accidents that have totaled cars. One car flipped by not following the speed limit there. It's mostly people using it as a commute, like as a throughway, that are going over the speed limit. But it's very, very common because there's only a stop sign at Deutero and Steilacoom. People are going to continue to use the Ridgeview as a pass-through to get to the freeway because that stop sign is going to back up more greatly if there is high density or a medium density housing there. In addition, the medium density people, they're going to come down and increase the traffic through our neighborhood. It is not a street, it's not a wide neighborhood street in order to support greater traffic through our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Pull it down. A little height impaired. How's that? Okay. Diane Gibson, my husband and I live at 9640 Regency Loop Southeast. That is in the Ridgeview 2. I think I can speak freely for those who are here, and I love the point of the meeting at 3:30 in the afternoon. So basically, for each one of us that you're hearing speak, there are a whole bunch of invisible people behind us that would be in total agreement with us that couldn't make a 3:30 in the afternoon meeting. Pretty much the consensus that I'm hearing is to not build medium density in the quarry. The only one comment for that is from an individual who stands to make money. And I do not think that needs to be the consideration for our voted officials to respond to the communities that they are to serve. I think the interests of the public that we have seen here today should bear the weight in this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to Zoom.
Commissioner, we see one person on Zoom, Kim Lee. Yep, there we go.
Hi there. Hi, good afternoon, Planning Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at today's public hearing. Excuse me. My name is Kim Lee and I work for Lakeside Industries. We're a property owner here in Thurston County and have been for many years now. So we've been engaged in the joint plan process through communications with both Thurston County and Lacey's planning staff earlier this year, and by submitting public comments at previous meetings throughout August and September of this year. We understand that one of the tasks within this joint plan update is a review of the existing UGA and urban holding areas in the South Lacey area, potentially leading to a recommendation about how to proceed on that. That's why we've offered a few recommendations that we think could open the door for additional housing flexibility in the future, but without committing the city or the county to any specific path. I'm hoping that you've been provided with copies of the joint plan text that we've suggested to staff and both planning commissions. It should have been included in the board package for today. But big picture, our proposed addition to the joint plan doesn't ask to move the UGA, and they don't require the county or the city to commit to any particular course of action. Instead, these additions allow for consideration of change in the future to provide more housing, more housing in a region where the need is ever increasing, but in the right location. So if the UGA ends up being reduced in the unsewered areas in South Lacey, this suggested language that we're proposing in the joint plan can facilitate a thoughtful replacement of the housing capacity that might be lost. We propose that the replacement housing be located in areas that are well served by utilities, well served by existing road infrastructure, and are immediately adjacent to existing housing that wants to match the density that it has, and therefore less impactful to the local jurisdictions and its residents. I hope that the county and the city consider these suggested edits to the joint plan that we proposed, and always happy to answer any questions that you might have on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That's the only person I see on Zoom.
Nobody wants to help us with Pacific or Carpenter? Any thoughts? Nope, all right.
Okay, so we'll bring it back to discussion. And we do have a meeting set for tomorrow for this, but any discussion commissioners would like to have this time?
I guess the only discussion I would have right now with these folks is, could I get a show of hands of those folks that would like to keep this the way it is today versus the other density changes? Do you want it more dense? I think we've got one vote here that wants it more dense. I'm just curious.
The other option is not to rezone it at all and keep it a. That's an option. Yeah.
One of the reasons we don't want it to be the way.
I think you have to come up to the microphone.
Yeah. The old quarry, as we call it, has been on fire twice. They've had homeless people in there many times. They've had quad bikes, motorcycles off-road with 4 wheels, tearing the place up, as many as 5 at a time. I'm the guy who lives next to it for 27 and a half years. My neighbors even call and go, Larry, there's quad bikes in the quarry. And I ride my mountain bike in there and try to chase them out. I don't get too close. But I'm just saying, we've had trouble over there for a long time. We think something needs to be done. You can make a big park, that'd be fine. We go from mineral extraction to nothing. But of course, the owner, Soundbelt Homes, has invested a lot of money, 1.2 million. You'd have to buy it from him, and I don't know that he'd let you have it for 1.2. So all I'm saying is, we need to do something. Low density would be the easiest, I think best. Nobody would suffer property values, most likely. They might not make as much money, but that's not my problem. So, thank you, sir.
I don't think Commissioner Edwards got an answer to his question.
Well, I was.
Mr. Edwards, I'm Steve Kern again.
Sure.
The way you phrased the question, it was hard for us to interpret.
Right, I know it was.
The original proposal that was made at the Planning Commission last month was low density, which is up to 6 units per acre. And then it was proposed in the announcement that we got that it would be 6 to 12 units per acre. We're just asking that it be low density, which is defined as 0 to 6. And you can ask, if you want to ask for that question.
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking, as far, if you wanted any change at all, Commissioner Menzer laid it out better than I did. Would you prefer we just leave it alone and leave it the way it is today? Or would you rather have it as low density? And then that kind of covers everything, is what I'm hearing, that. Low density is what we're okay, I just want to see. We hear a lot of different things that come up. Sometimes we really don't get the full importance of the message that you're trying to give us. But just raising your hand, that's pretty easy.
Just one other comment. I just launched this letter campaign a week ago.
Okay.
And I carried in 40 letters today from 4 different communities, Ridgeview 1 and 2, Nisqually, and Stellicum Ridge. So, and a lot of folks didn't know this was even happening. We put posters on mailboxes thanks to our neighbors. So, I mean, I would say the community is 100% for low density.
Or at least 99 or something. Thank you very much. I really think that your public input is very much worth it. We're interested in hearing that. And I think you ought to know, and I don't know if the chair mentioned earlier, but we're not going to make a decision on this until when?
The end of November.
And we have to do that according to the law because at that point in time, we make a bunch of decisions. So make sure that, I don't know, we're on your notice list or callback list. Make sure you don't let us forget you.
Commissioner, yeah.
How the process works is, we are just hearing public comment today. We will have a work session where the 3 of us will be discussing the public comment that we've received today and just making preliminary decisions on the direction that we will be heading or not heading. And after that, we will give kind of a thumbs up, and this will be rolled into the comprehensive plan update that will be at the end of the month. Leah, did I cover that correctly? Or did I miss something?
No, that's correct. We will have the board briefing tomorrow to discuss the public comment. Staff would like to have decision points tomorrow on how to move forward because it does take a fair amount of time to prepare the documents for the final action on November 28th. But yes, you summarized it pretty well.
And it's going to be tomorrow at 2. You can watch that through the live stream on our YouTube channel. We do not take public comment during that time. Usually, that's why we open it up during this time to kind of receive that public comment. And then we discuss it all tomorrow. So just if it's something you want to keep tabs on tomorrow at 2 p.m., if you want to come in, you're more than welcome. Or if you would like to watch it via YouTube or catch it on later in the day, you're more than welcome to do that. And I've seen a couple of hands pop up. So are there questions or public comment? Okay, if you would, and then I'll get you, sir. And if you'll introduce yourself and the address you reside in.
Eileen Peterson, 738 Alma Lane Southeast in Nisqually Bluff. One thing I think kind of got a little glossed over in this discussion that I want to make sure is on your minds as you're considering this, and that is the environmental impacts. The Nisqually Bluff is uniquely situated in that it literally is on a bluff. We do not have hookup to stormwater drain off like other communities do. It does not go with the city of Lacey or anything like that. We have an arrangement, a private arrangement for our stormwater runoff to go down below the bluff, which ultimately ends, I think, into McAllister Creek. And if Soundbuild or whomever develops that quarry area and were to build high density, it would by definition need to have huge retention ponds, which would mean taking some of the property for that development to have their stormwater runoff. Something to that effect is going to have to be done. So it's most suitable for low density. We don't know what kind of hookup they would have for storm runoff, but that has to be considered because if it were to tap into what we are doing in Nisqually Bluff, it would probably have really devastating environmental impact.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
I mean, I've heard a lot about what Soundbuilt will and won't do, so I'd love to respond if that's
Go ahead.
acceptable. So to be clear, Soundbill is not proposing a project at this point on this property. We're speaking in favor of the change as laid out in the joint plan. Future projects have all kinds of mitigation requirements, right? Doesn't matter what we propose, we're going to have to mitigate for anything we do. Stormwater, sewer, roads, those things are all addressed at the time of a project, right? So right now, we're just saying, what kind of density is this property going to have based on the joint plan being presented by staff? And so I think we're speaking in favor of that. What Soundbill or whoever owns it does at that point will have significant mitigation, whatever that may be, whether it's, improve all the roads, put in stoplights, build a school. I mean, whatever it might be, that happens at the time of project proposal. So to be clear, what Soundbill is saying at this time is we support the joint plan as presented by staff.
Commissioners, any further discussion?
No, I guess I just mentioned one other thing. If your neighbors that didn't get to come, couldn't come for whatever reason, I tell them what went on here tonight, who they might want to try to get a hold of, or who should want to hear from them, how they feel. I hate to think that we leave some people out because we put time restrictions and such in place. So I'm not gonna encourage anybody to do anything. I might be getting in trouble for asking them to break the law or something like that. I would never do that. But never hurts to hear what's going on.
Okay. So with that, looks
There
like
was a
we've reached.
gentleman over here that.
He said
He
no. Yeah.
said he didn't want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close public hearing.
Second,
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I for one will be hanging around here for a little bit. Anybody wants to jaw about it, so. No further discussions, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Mentzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. So the public hearing is now closed. And just as a reminder, as stated previously, a work session is scheduled for tomorrow, which is November 8th, to discuss any public comment received and next steps regarding the Lacey Joint Plan. And no final action will be taken until the end of 2023 with all the comprehensive plan amendments. And that hearing is at 2 p.m. tomorrow. And if you're not able to join, you can watch this through the Thurston County YouTube channel, and it is also live streamed. So, okay. It is 4 o'clock. We are adjourned. Thank you.